Hare Krishna, it's so good to have you all here as we dive into what is really a critical chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, as it is. We're looking at Chapter 8, Attaining the Supreme, and this is where Lord Krishna gives us the secret to passing life's final, most important test. So, here's our game plan. We're going to follow the conversation exactly as it unfolds, starting with Arjuna's really urgent life-or-death questions, and we'll see how it all leads to Lord Krishna's amazing instructions on how every single one of us can get back to him.
You know, this whole chapter really kicks off from a place of deep, urgent concern. And you have to remember, Arjuna, as the perfect devotee, he's not just asking for himself, he's asking for all of us, trying to get clarity on the biggest questions of life and death.
And this right here, this is the heart of it all. Srila Prabhupada really emphasizes this moment, the prayana kale. Think about it. At the time of death, your body's failing, your mind is just in chaos. Arjuna's question is so practical. How can any of us possibly hope to remember Krishna and fix our minds on his lotus feet when everything is literally falling apart? Now, before Krishna reveals the how-to, he does something absolutely crucial. He builds a solid foundation for us. He takes the time to clearly define all the key terms Arjuna's asking about, because without this, we just can't grasp the deep wisdom that's about to come.
Okay, so first up, Brahman. Krishna makes it clear this refers to the individual soul, the adhyātma, each and every one of us. We are indestructible, we are eternal, and our basic spiritual nature, our constitution, it never changes.
And karma, you can basically think of karma as the engine of this material world. It's the force that keeps us tied to the cycle of birth and death, pushing the soul from one body to the next, over and over again.
Now, this is such a vital distinction that Srila Prabhupada points out. We, the living entities, we are Brahman. We're eternal spiritual sparks. But Krishna, the Supreme Lord, he is Para-Brahman. And what's the difference? We, as tiny fragments, can fall into this material world. But the Supreme Lord, he never does. He is Achyuta, the one who is infallible.
So for anyone who's not on the path of pure devotion, the Vedic texts like the Chandogya Upanishad lay out this really stark picture of a perpetual cycle. I mean, look at this. You perform sacrifices, you get to go to some temporary heavenly planet, but as soon as your good karma runs out, you fall back to earth as rain, become grain, get eaten, and eventually end up in another human body just to start the whole frustrating process all over again. Okay, now we are getting to the absolute core teaching of this chapter. This is the universal law. It explains how our consciousness, right at that final moment, literally determines our eternal future. This is not a suggestion, it's an absolute law of nature. Your entire life, every thought, every desire, every action, it's all practice for that one final moment. And whatever your state of mind is right then, that's where you're going next. There are absolutely no exceptions. And Srila Prabhupada gives us this really sobering example of Maharaja Bharata. I mean, here was a great, highly advanced soul, but because of a moment of attachment to a deer, that's what he thought of at the time of death, and he was reborn as a deer. It's just such a powerful, powerful warning for us to be so careful about where our attachments are. So here's the bottom line. Thinking of a deer makes you a deer. Thinking of heavenly pleasures might get you to a heavenly planet, but there is only one thought that gets you to the supreme transcendental destination. Remembering Krishna and only Krishna. That's what guarantees we attain his eternal spiritual nature. And the Lord himself says, of this there is no doubt. So naturally, the big question becomes, how can we guarantee that we'll remember Krishna at that final critical moment? Well, the Lord, in his mercy, now reveals the most direct, the most sublime, and honestly, the most practical path, the path of pure devotional service, bhakti-yoga. This is such a beautiful, hopeful verse. Just look at this incredible promise from Krishna. For the person who is ananya cheta, whose mind is totally fixed on him without getting distracted, he says, I am sulabha. Do you know what that means? It means very easy to obtain. Just think about that. Not difficult, not complicated, but easy. The purport really brings this pure devotee to life. They're remembering Krishna constantly, satatam and nityasha. They have no personal desires other than to please the Lord. That's nishkama. And because of this pure consciousness, they don't need to get tangled up in all the complicated rules of other yoga systems. They simply rely on the most powerful process for this age, chanting the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Now, to really impress on us just how important it is to leave this material world for good, Krishna zooms way out. He gives us this breathtaking, cosmic perspective on time, and he shows us the two different paths, the two exit ramps you can take when you leave this world. Get this. Krishna explains that even the lifespan of Lord Brahma, the creator of this entire universe, is limited. Just one of his days is 4.32 billion of our years. But even that immense amount of time is just a blink of an eye in terms of eternity. The point is clear. This whole material world is temporary. It has an expiration date. So for yogis who aren't pure devotees, leaving the body is all about timing. It's almost like catching a cosmic train. If you leave during an auspicious period, the path of light, you can go to the spiritual effulgence. But if you leave at an inauspicious time, the path of darkness, you miss your connection and you have to come right back for another lifetime. And here is the supreme gift of bhakti. For a pure devotee, none of this matters. It doesn't matter if it's day or night, auspicious or inauspicious. Whether you leave by plan or by accident, your ticket back to Godhead is absolutely guaranteed by your loving service. You're never bewildered by these things. And so, that brings us to the ultimate goal. The whole reason we're given this sacred knowledge in the first place. Reaching that supreme home, that place from which we never, ever have to come back. The ultimate destination is Krishna's own home. And once the great souls, the Mahatmas, get there, they never have to return to this world. And why is that such a great thing? Because Krishna himself calls this place dukkha alayam, a place of misery, and ashashvatam, temporary. It's a miserable place with a short-term lease. So how do we get to that supreme abode, Goloka Vrindavana? Krishna could not be more clear. It is attainable by only one method, bhaktya. Unalloyed, undeviating, pure devotional service. No other process, no other yoga can take us there. In his final words in this chapter, Krishna just glorifies the path of bhakti so much. And Srila Prabhupada explains its beauty. With just one simple act, engaging in devotional service, a devotee gets a result that is greater than all the results of Vedic study, severe penances, charity, and philosophy all put together. It's the ultimate all-in-one package. So this leaves us with a really deep question for our own lives, for our own meditation. Krishna's final instruction to Arjuna was so simple and direct. Therefore, always think of me. The real challenge for every single one of us is to take that instruction to heart and make it the living, breathing reality of our existence. How can we make sure that at that final critical moment, our thoughts are fixed only on Him, so that we can pass life's ultimate test and finally go home? Hare Krishna.